Yo, what's good, gang? This the dope guy. I am back with another video, big dog, man. Happy Thursday to y'all, man. Friday Eve, we have made it to the end of the week pretty much, man. It's been a long week as always, man. Head to the weekend. If you got business to handle, do your thing. If not, kick back and relax and recharge for next week. I swear to God, you're gonna feel a lot better on God. But yeah, man, today's video was subscribers' request. It's called The Never Ending Beef in Brum Burger Bar versus Johnson's. Bro, I learned that Brum is short for Birmingham. That's a city in England. Shout out to all my people in the UK. Much love to y'all, man. I hope to one day visit the UK and chop it up with y'all, man. That's a fact. So this is gonna be a long video, so I'm gonna keep it short and sweet. So before we hop into it, subscribe to the Dope Guy way to get notifications every time I upload, and find me right here on Snapchat and Instagram right across the bottom of the screen. With that being said, I am not gonna hold you much longer because you already know. Let's go, big dog. Let's get into it. Yes, sir.
It's 1985 in Birmingham, and the police officers slapped a fine notice onto an illegally parked car outside the cab. When officers tried to arrest the man, he fled inside the cab, where other people in the cab started to protect the man and throw objects at the policeman. The violence started getting madder throughout the night, eventually turning into looting and even firebombs, which even resulted in two brothers who owned the local post office being burnt to death. This took place in the Handsworth district of Birmingham, where unemployment was rife, and the large majority of the population was either Caribbean or Asian. This riot breeded a Caribbean gang in the district, which was eventually used to protect each other against the highly racist police and white supremacists. The gang were called Inch High, and they started to become quite notorious after two members were charged for the double murder of the two brothers who were burnt alive in their post office. So as I said before, Inch High was starting to become more notorious after two members were charged for the double murder. Members from Inch High started hanging outside a Caribbean restaurant in Birmingham called Johnson's Caribbean Takeaway. They started to call themselves the Johnson Crew, or Johnnies for short. This was in the 90s when the crack and heroin market started booming in Birmingham, and the Johnnies wanted a piece of it. So started running up the drugs market and controlling security at some nightclubs where their drugs would be served, using violent tactics to take over Jamaican yardies who once ran the drugs in the city. But in 1992, tensions between members of the Johnnies were starting to mount after a member called Super D was charged for murdering another member over a female. This caused half of the Johnson Crew to break off from the gang and form their own gang up the road. The locals started to call the break-off gang the Burger Boys, because they would rob stores and go back to the Burger Bar Cafe on Soho Road in Handsworth, Birmingham, which was not too far from the Johnson's Caribbean Takeaway, where the original Johnson's members were
a female.
There were also more tensions due to
Shit always happens like that, bro.
But the problem was the gangs didn't have a specific area where they were from. They just had takeaway spots they chilled at. And more time, the opposing gangs would be living right next to each other in the same area, with the majority of them all growing up together and attending the same school. Then eventually, both sides started picking areas which made more sense for them to rep, mainly just because that's where the majority of the members live.
Just like how it is in Chicago, bro. Like, all these people grew up together, bro. Like, now you ops. Now they grew up together, but now they ops, bro. That shit is crazy. You know what I'm saying? Went to the same school, same neighborhood, maybe just a few block difference, but it's crazy that they grew up together, but now they're ops. Man, the streets is crazy, bro. The streets be really tearing people apart, bro. It really divides everyone, I swear to God. Like, people won't even rock with you because you from this block, even though you have nothing to do with it. But it's just, I don't know. Gang culture is crazy. It's super crazy.
The Johnnies crew started claiming two areas called Los Hills and Aston, while Burger Bar members started claiming two areas called Handsworth and Winston Green, leaving some members who couldn't move house to switch gangs depending on the area sometimes. By 1994, the beef was in full swing, and members from both sides started tit-for-tat shootings. The same year in April, a group of Johnson members made their way to a party in Newtown and knocked on the door to the party. A man called Keith Copeland opened the door, and immediately Johnson members shot him in the head with a shotgun. Johnson's member named Ringo was originally charged for the murder, but was eventually found innocent due to a lack of witnesses and evidence. So the war was starting to heat up in the area, but it was just going to get more hotter. In between Handsworth and Aston, which are two opposing areas in this feud, there was another estate called Newtown, which for the most part stayed neutral throughout the war. But this all changed when kids from the Newtown estate and members from the Johnsons were playing football in a park in Newtown. Burger Boys saw this and shot into the crowd of boys playing football, which resulted in Newtown siding with the Johnsons. And Newtown weren't here to play with the Burger Bar crew. A Burger Bar member called Ruben was chasing a Newtown member down the street when two Newtown members aged 13 and 15 then clocked onto this. They ran at Ruben and stabbed him over 20 times. The 13-year-old boy served 7 years for the murder and was eventually released. But he hadn't even been out for a year yet when him and 5 other Johnson members ran into a nightclub and shot a bouncer after he attempted to stop them, which the 13-year-old was eventually sentenced to 30 years in prison for. The Johnsons also shot another member of the Burger Bar crew called Bubbler when members surrounded his car and shot him in the head point blank range, killing him. By 1998,
Man, point
the
blank
two
range,
gangs had
bro.
single-handedly rose the gun crime rate in Birmingham by 500%, making Birmingham the gun crime capital of the UK. At one point, on a good day, there will be one shooting. On a bad day, there will be around 6, which is crazy for a country where guns are illegal. The Burger Boys retaliated
Guns
with
are
their member
legal?
brother being shot in the head. Burger members ran into a Johnson member's apartment called Menace and literally grabbed him and threw him out the window of his 10th floor apartment. A Burger Bar member was heard bragging about it and was arrested, but charges were dropped due to no evidence. But the Burger Boys really wanted to show the Johnsons they mean business and ended 1999 with one of the most gruesome murders in this beef. It was New Year's Eve and a Johnson's member called Corey went into a party at Winston Green, which is the territory of his ops, which are the Burger Bar crew, but found no one. But next day there was another party in Handsworth, which is again part of the Burger Bar's territory. Corey entered the party armed with a bulletproof vest and a shotgun, like he's about to enter a war zone map. At the party, he bucked into some Burger Bar members who told him to come outside. The Burger Bar members waited for him outside the alley packed with guns, and Corey walked outside towards them and shot his shotgun for the first shot, shooting one member in the hip. Burger Bar members then massacred Corey in a rain of bullets, literally surrounding him, shooting him over 70 times altogether.
Bro, he walk in there with a shotgun, bulletproof vest, he's ready. You with all the shits. Call him out, and I assume he's by himself. He shoots one, but then you're outnumbered by a whole crew, and they shoot him over 70 times, bro. What the hell you expect was gonna happen? You went there looking for war, and 9 times out of 10, you was solo dolo. Crazy shit. Like, why do shit like that? Like, I don't know. Some people feel like dying is a badge of honor or whatever, but bro, you went there solo. Look, you was pretty much looking for shit, and they pretty much assassinated you. Something crazy. 70 times. Make it make sense, bro. Shit is crazy, bro.
After he was shot so many times, a member even grabbed his own shotgun and began to start shooting Corey with it after he was dead. One of the men suspected of this murder was a Burger Bar gun called Micah, who was actually shot himself a couple months after the murder of Corey. The police were working hard to try and get someone convicted for the massacre of Corey, because these murders and shootings were becoming more and more common, and no one was getting booked for them. Birmingham was starting to look like the Wild West. Police started begging witnesses to come through about the murder, and seeing that there was about 200 people at the party, police thought there would be enough witnesses for some people to try and go and testify against them. But the police underestimated the hold these two gangs had on the local population. Civilians were terrified of the two gangs, and snitching was one of the worst things you could get caught doing. Only one witness actually ended up testifying eventually, but all she said was that she saw one member with a gun earlier, but this wasn't enough to prosecute anyone. And again, there was another unsolved murder in the area. Then the 2000s hit, and younger factions of both gangs started to emerge from the estates, and the Burger Bar name was starting to fade away, and most of the youngers from the area started claiming a new name called RMD or BT1 Bangers. Same thing with the Johnson's crew. Youngers from the area started to roll around naming themselves Slash instead, which breeded a new generation of this war. RMD and BT1 Bangers. It
always starts like that.
But for the purpose of the video and to make it easier to understand the division, I'm gonna keep the name to Johnson's and Burger Bar crew when referring to the two separate sides, because if not, it can get quite confusing. And it didn't take long for the younger generation to follow suit of their elders. It was March 6th, 2000 outside the club in Birmingham called Fuzzies, and for once it seemed like a peaceful night. It hit the club 6 AM closing time, and people started leaving the club. One of these people being a young father called Christopher Clark, who was known to chill with a few people associated with the Johnson crew. Around 10 younger members from the Burger Bar crew spotted Christopher and started bottling him, but then one member brought out a shank, which stabbed him twice in the chest, which reached through his heart and killed him, and then the killers ran away from the scene. Christopher was known to hate the Johnsons, especially because they used to bother his girlfriend. 4 out of the 10 members were eventually cool, one of these including the Burger Bar member called 13, who was named after his prison cell number. A Johnson's crew member actually managed to shoot 13 in the leg for revenge, but he survived. 2 days after this shooting, 13 and 3 other members were arrested and charged for the murder, but all murder charges were eventually dropped and were lessened to a charge of violent disorder because the judges couldn't figure out who actually stabbed Christopher. See, this was about 12 years before joint enterprise was introduced, which is the law now where essentially you could be convicted for a crime your friend done if you have some type of involvement or role to play in it. For example, if you're beating somebody up and your friend ends up stabbing and killing them, you'll both be done for murder. So before this was
Even if I ain't do it?
for joint murders to be pinned on anyone. But the beef really started heating up after Burger Bar's boss, a man nicknamed Nozza, was shot while he parked up in his car on Johnson's crew territory. Nozza was then said to have planned a retaliation hit. A man linked to the Johnson's crew called Escalating had just came out of prison and was back on the streets. He was posted up in his BMW on a nice sunny day when the Vauxhall car pulled up beside him. Inside the Vauxhall were two men with semi-automatic handguns, and more than 20 shots were fired at him, killing him in broad day on a residential street. Now, the police wanted to catch the killers badly, but there was no evidence. The only evidence they had was a strand of Nozza's hair found inside the Vauxhall car. The police found that enough to be evidence to put Nozza down for the murder, but eventually, years later, Nozza got his appeal and was released under insufficient evidence. He wasn't out for long though, after being found guilty of running the national gun smuggling ring, and was given a life sentence for the second time in his life. Now let's fast forward to 5 months' time. Remember 13, one of the members who was sentenced for his part of the murder of Christopher Clark. He had just been paroled from prison after serving 2.5 years and moved to a nearby town called West Bromwich, and was trying to turn his life around and leave the gang life behind him. But as we know, the gang life doesn't work like that. When you're in, you're locked in for life. So 13, thinking he's starting a new life in the new town, started to hand out leaflets for a new promotional company he was trying to run. One of these leaflets going to two girls who had boyfriends or affiliates of the Johnson's crew. Real quick, one of the girls called their boyfriends and gave the drop on 13, and two members pulled up to the drop in a stolen BMW and fired 9 shots into 13, leaving him dead on the scene, which left both of the girls who set him up and the boys who killed him with life sentences. Then New Year's Eve, and the Johnsons were throwing a New Year's party.
That's crazy, bro. Like, you could be in the streets, do some time, get out, try to do a new life, change your life around. Don't always work out that way, bro. The street shit always follows you, especially if you did some damage out here. The streets gonna always follow you, and people remember that. And you might know them, but they always know you. That's usually how it works in the streets. You don't know nobody, but they know who you are because, pictures and all the other shit. But that's crazy. He tried to turn his life around, but you know what I'm saying? Turning your life around, getting away from that is actually like moving far out, probably leaving UK, period. That's a way to change your life around. If you done damage, you done street shit, move away. Don't live in that same city or town or whatever. Move away. Move somewhere else. Far, far away. Where nobody knows you. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. That's how the streets work, bro.
Party started at a nightclub where Johnson's members were said to be mocking 13's death, which was somehow relayed onto Burger Bar members. The after party was in a cramped hair salon, which had over 150 people partying in there. Burger Bar got the drop quick and rid there in a red Mondeo with a Mac 10 and a couple handguns. While a group of Johnson members were outside with a bunch of girls, Burger Bar set fire onto the crowd, leaving 47 rounds on the scene. 6 people were shot, including 4 females and 2 males. One member even hopping out of the car to get closer to shoot at certain individuals. 2 of these female shots included 2 cousins, Charlene Ellis and Letisa Charlene's. A man called Nathan was the brother of Charlene, and he rang up his half-brother immediately called Marcus after the shooting, because Marcus was a member of the Burger Bars. Once Nathan told Marcus about the shooting, Marcus simply asked if they were dead. Nathan then checked and confirmed while crying that they're both dead. Marcus put down the phone and went on the run, realizing he had just took part of the murder of his own half-sister. 5 members were found guilty for the double murder, with one member nicknamed Dread eventually acquitted for the trial. But a couple days after Dredd was bailed, he was shot 9 times in his head, back and neck by Johnson members, but survived. Dredd was actually on another 2 murder charges after this, but both also got dropped, before he was eventually convicted and sentenced for his 4th murder charge in 2015 in an internal situation. So at this point, there were countless tit-for-tat shootings and murders, which I could talk about for hours. But let's fast forward to 2004, when the Johnson's crew started to hit the booth under their new name Slash. These were in the Channel U days, which was a channel back in the day that used to broadcast all the new UK rap and grime tunes. It was pretty much the Link Up TV and GRM Daily before YouTube came out. And Slash started to get some serious traction on the channel, even collabing with the American group Dipset, which is something impressive to them to get recognition and even jump on the track with an American. The group started to rise some controversy as well though, when the member was shot dead in the middle of a music video for a track called Hardball after an internal dispute. And after Burger Bar members started making diss tracks back to the Slash crew, it was starting to become clear from the outside that Slash wasn't any normal music group. While this was all happening, there was more issues brewing up in the town. A 14-year-old black girl was caught stealing in the Asian hair shop and was supposedly dragged to the back of the shop and sexually assaulted by several Asian men. This took place in Newtown, which was an area affiliated with the Johnsons. So they rioted, burnt down and smashed up Asian shops around the town, which caused massive brawls between black and Asian people, resulting in one black guy called Isaiah Young Sam being stabbed to death by several Asians. In one day of rioting, there was one murder, countless shootings and 35 people seriously wounded. The riots ended up lasting another 2 days, when Newtown gangs were starting to shoot at Asian gangs in an attempt to get revenge for Isaiah. In one occasion, armed police were searching for a gang that was spotted shooting at a group of Asians. The group ran off while helicopters were searching for them. While running, an 18-year-old called Aaron accidentally pushed over his friend called Dwayne while they were scattering away from police. The fall ended up with Dwayne accidentally discharging his handgun, shooting his friend Aaron in the head, killing him instantly.
Damn.
This ignited a whole different feud in the area between Johnson's gangs, which were predominantly carried against Asian gangs. But for a bit of time, it was mainly just tensions between the both races and some rare little spouts of violence. Until the 13th of October 2006, when 2 black gang members from Newtown stabbed 2 Asian gang members. This was the same day of a man called Blanks' 20th birthday, who was also a Johnson's affiliate gang member. And without Blanks having any prior knowledge of the previous attack one of his members done in the Asian that day, he was shot in the chest and killed on his birthday. This murder was followed up by countless shootings, with 2 Asian men even being shot in the face 3 days later. And later on in the month, a well-known Asian gang leader was shot to death inside his shop when 2 men walked into his shop and shot him twice in the head with a shotgun. Now let's fast forward to one of the biggest moments in UK history in recent years, summer of 2011, when a man called Mark Duggan was shot and killed by police in London. The whole country rioted. And if you was around these times, you would know the whole country was in anarchy, including Birmingham. In one occasion, a group of men lured police towards a pub after firebombing it, and then began shooting at the police once they arrived, which 6 men were sentenced for 12 to 30-year stretches for. And quite a lot of older members got sentences for their roles they played in the riots, which made it quite a weird time once the riots were done, and made the older gangs, which were Johnson and Burger Bar affiliated, more relevant. And around these times, the new generation was starting to grow up. They didn't have much ties towards the old feuds that were going on, starting a new feud, with members from the Handsworth, Winston Green and Hockside calling themselves AR, or Armed Response, and members from Newtown calling themselves GMG, or Get Money.
Going,
by the mid-2010s, both gangs had brought gun violence back to Birmingham, with over 20 reported shootings between both of them within a fortnight. And not too long after the big spout of shootings, a song dropped on YouTube called M to the N, from a member of the AR side called Lynch, referencing real moments like when a 16-year-old got shot in the back at a barbecue. When police found this video, they started investigating Lynch heavily, especially after a bullet was found under his car after a shooting was linked to him. And he looked even more suspicious after him and another member was arrested in September after their car was stopped and searched, and balaclavas, gloves and stab vests were found inside the car. After months of investigating, police managed to link Lynch to 6 shootings and found drugs, ammunition and a gun stashed in his house, slapping him with a 27-year sentence. Lynch really put drill music on the radar in Birmingham though, because after Lynch was arrested, his rivals GMG started dropping drill tunes laced with disses towards the AR.
This is where drill started taking off
and increased the shootings in the area. So police launched, which was at the time the biggest gang injunction in the UK on both of the gangs. This injunction banned 18 members from GMG and AR from Birmingham.
Damn, they barred. Damn, they got banned,
If
G.
they were caught in Birmingham, they'd be facing an instant 2-year sentence. This injunction also banned members from making drill music, which they believed to be one of the sources intensifying the beat. And if you look on YouTube, you'll find most songs from both sides are re-uploads, because the originals got removed from YouTube as part of the injunction. But this gang injunction wasn't stopping anything on the streets, so the police started getting more hands-on, sending out undercover officers to survey areas of high gang activity. In one occasion, undies were patrolling the block of the AR gang when 2 members from the AR gang fired 2 shots into the undies car, thinking it was the rival gang GMG lurking on their block, which makes sense why they thought that, because the beef in the area was as tense as ever. Not too long after this situation, GMG members were out looking for AR members in Winston Green. They were in a Ford Cougar, packed with members, and started shooting at a group outside the takeaway.
Crazy,
they thought were AR members. They didn't end up hitting anyone, so they were out looking for more members, when they found an AR member called K Rizzy's Mercedes parked outside his dad's house. So the GMG members let out fire onto his car, hitting K Rizzy's innocent passenger who was sitting inside the car. See, K Rizzy wasn't even in the car at the time. He was inside his dad's house, while his friend was sitting outside his. So when he came back and heard the news of his friend getting shot,
man.
The next day, K Rizzy and another AR member called Dazza were looking for revenge on GMG's block with a Mac 11. They found father of 4 Skelly outside a set of shops and let fire into him, killing him instantly. And both were eventually sentenced to life for this murder. Then the new wave of drill came to Birmingham, which was mainly led by a gang in Newtown called Nine Boys, who were linked with GMG. One artist which you might have heard of is called Trills. He blew up after getting 3.5 million views on his hit song Birmingham City, and his name was even more hot when in March of this year he was stabbed in the head by AR members. Bro, this was actually a revenge attack after 6 schoolboys from Newtown and Aston rid out to Handsworth in a 7-seater car, shooting and stabbing a 15-year-old AR member called K1 while he was talking to his girlfriend outside his house. Currently, 4 youths between 14 to 17 have denied murder, and they will go to trial in October. There's been quite a few more situations of deaths which have happened recently, but I'm not going to cover them in this video. But this war has been going on for longer than 25 years.
Hell yeah.
Anywhere. And I'm pretty sure some of the gang members who rep both sides now don't even know about half the people which have died for the same gang they rep.
No.
So guys, just think about that next time you find yourself in these situations. It's been your boy Kid Nerd, and peace out.
Bruh, like, it's a continuing thing since the early 90s, bruh. You know what I'm saying? Hell, further than that, you know what I'm saying? Just, it's a continuing thing. It's always going to be new groups of gangs just keep going and going and going, bro. It's just that's how it works. You know what I'm saying? These generation of people who are in the streets don't know nothing about what happened in the 90s and the early 2000s, bro. They don't know nothing about it. They might hear stories, but they don't really care too much what happened back then. You know what I'm saying? They focus on the now. They going off shit that happened currently and recently, bro. A lot of shit. Like I said, these gangs, they've been brewing forever, going back to the 70s, dog. Like a sheesh, man. Just how it is in the city, man. Chicago, New York, LA, you know what I'm saying? The gang culture is just out of control, man. We gotta find a way to figure this shit out, man. It really is. Like, I'm from Chicago. I know people who was in the streets, but I was never part of that shit at all. I choose not to do that, man. That's not my lifestyle, man. That's way other important shit to worry about than who's running, what's blocking, whatnot. I can care less. That's not my thing, but you know what I'm saying? There's something gotta be done. This current generation, man, they're our future, bro. So we gotta figure out something. We really do. But yeah, man, this video was pretty interesting, bro. I was very intrigued with learning about the gang culture in Birmingham, aka Brum, that y'all call in the UK. Shout out to the UK. I hope to visit them one day for sure, man. Most definitely. Got to. But yeah, man, I hope you enjoyed the reaction to this video. If you enjoyed my reaction, please give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to the Dope Guy Big Dog. Hit the notification bell whenever I upload. From right here on Snapchat and Instagram, right across the bottom screen. Any other videos you want me to check out, please comment under this video and in my other videos. Any videos that I cannot upload on YouTube, subscribe to the Patreon right across the bottom screen, also on God. But yeah, man, this is a dope video, man. Shout out to all my people in the UK. Shout out to all my supporters, man. Much love to y'all, man. I appreciate y'all so much for checking out this content. Much love to y'all, man. We on the road to 10K subscribers. I'm almost at 4K, you know what I'm saying? Subscribe to the channel, like the video, comment under the video, share my videos, all that stuff. Much love to y'all. Y'all my big dogs. Please support me. I appreciate y'all on God. And I will continue with this content. But yeah, man, this is the Dope Guy, and I am out. Yes, sir. We gone.